Hello everyone and welcome to A Slice of My Life, and today I will finally be talking about the FTO Asylum Mini 3.0 Glow Carbon Fiber. My goodness, that is such a long thing to say. Anyway, this video would not be possible and I would not have this if not for the help of Alysia. So shoutouts to you, Alysia. Thank you so much for helping me procure this. So a little bit of backstory for you guys. I've actually had this for close to half a year. This was actually dropped on the 1st of June if I'm not wrong, or it could have been the last day of May, I'm not so sure, because you know, different time zones and stuff. But he was conducting drops of these and I really wanted a carbon fiber mini asylum. I didn't care if it was going to be a 2.0, a 3.0, or 1.0. I didn't really care. I just wanted to have a carbon fiber asylum because I thought it looked cool. Now, the first time a carbon fiber asylum was released, I remember, was I think in February, and I didn't get any of those because it was a sign-up sale, and I personally don't really like the idea of sign-up sales. But if it works for any maker, then it works, because you know, everyone gets a kind of like a fair chance. You just say in and then they'll just draw your name, and then if your name gets drawn, then you buy it. Kind of like the way it works in the knife world as well. For this particular case, it was a drop, and unfortunately during the time of the drop I had to DJ, and it was a really big event. So things just really, you know, time zones just really don't work for me. Like, I've struggled so much with time zones, and I just wish sometimes the makers from the US would give the other half of the globe a little bit more of a chance. But thank goodness for Alysia. Because of her, she was able to snag one of these on my behalf. So really thank you, Alysia. Now, initially I wanted blue, and then my second choice was purple. So it seems that blue sold out first, but she was able to snag a purple one, which to me is not bad. But the only problem is that I did not realize that the purple would not glow as much as the rest. You would probably have to really bring it out into the sun, or you have to use a UV light to get it to really glow. Anyway, it is here, and I wanted to share with you guys what I thought or what I think about it, because I think it's a really cool spinner. And first of all, the unboxing experience is really awesome. It comes in a case like this, and I think that this is kind of like a reverse etch coloring, because everything is just printed on and then the logo is actually etched out. So that's quite cool. Most of the time it's the other way around, where you just see ink for the logo, but that's really nice. And before I carry on, I'll be bringing in my Asylum Mini. I think this is a 1.0 because yeah, it's got Sonder meteorite buttons. Let me just show you guys. It is a R188 press fit spinner. This is the stainless steel black oxide wash thing, and then I put in some of these spacer beads, and I really like it. But here we go. Just pop the lid open and you will be greeted with a sticker and a COA. Yep, it is a COA, Asylum Mini 3.0 Glow Carbon Fiber, made May 2019 because it was released in June, and then it's purple in color. Then you have a layer of foam, and underneath that you actually have a very beautifully presented Asylum Mini, and I love this foam cutout here. It's a perfect fit. So when purchasing this particular Asylum Mini in Glow Carbon Fiber, you actually have a choice of getting standard stainless steel buttons, or I think it was Zirc buttons, and I don't really think these are the best looking buttons in the world, so I did not go for these zirconium buttons. I eventually swapped it out for something else that I will show you guys in a while. But this is the Glow Carbon Fiber Asylum Mini 3.0, guys. It is much chunkier, much thicker, and the reason why it's so chunky is because the V3s were initially designed to hold 608 bearings, but this one, let me just get the buttons off. This one, you guys can tell it is a R188 bearing in there, and it's got these very beautiful speed holes all around here. I like that a lot. But I guess one of the main things to highlight, and I don't know if you want to consider it a downside or a negative point, but if you notice that the spinner frame is much taller than the bearing, so the bearing has to be seated almost perfectly in the middle of the spinner for the buttons to work. And the buttons are a little bit special. As you can see, the shoulder height is a bit taller than usual when you compare it to a press fit kind of button, and that's because yeah, you have to actually accommodate for the extra height, or the extra lip of height around the bearing. So spins wise, of course, it's going to be really fast because it is carbon fiber after all. If you're going for max fidgetability, something super light but super fast as well, this is it. Now, of course, the design of the Asylum itself lends to very good fidgetability as well, because everything is very nicely chamfered, and I love the way that Nick actually did the carbon fiber here. I'm sure that he took a lot of time to source out the right kind of carbon fiber, the one with the correct height, for him to get a carbon fiber and glow resin mixed like that in a sandwich, and then measure the center portion perfectly and then work upwards from there. So I think that this is a job well done. I'm no expert in carbon fiber, but I do have a lot of carbon fiber products, so I kind of understand this machining quality here, and I think that that's done really well. So if you guys can see, it is done very equally all the way around, and I want to tip my hat off to him. The main thing I want to say is that there are some stray threads So let me just pop the buttons back off again and let me see if I can get it on camera. Usually around the edges or the corners of the arms, you'll actually see maybe 1 or 2 stray threads that might be sticking out because, you know, carbon fiber is a weave after all. Yeah, I think I got it. You guys can see right there. I'll try to highlight it on screen. But yeah, it's really small, it's really thin, and it's not really noticeable on camera. But in person, I guess it's one of those kind of things that if you see it, then you can't really unsee it. Yeah, I mean, this is a property of carbon fiber. It is by no fault of NYX. But if you guys really want to get rid of it, you could just take a buffing pad or I guess one of those nail file buffers and just try and buff it away. But basically, that's a property of carbon fiber that you're not able to escape from, especially when you're talking about machining quality of this sort, when you have chamfered edges like that. Also, I think that this looks better that it's not so polished, because sometimes in terms of carbon fiber, you actually have very polished flats, and I'm glad that he didn't polish a flat so that everything looked rather equal in terms of finish, because some people really love the polished or super buffed up glossy carbon fiber finishing, but this one looks very nice. It still displays the weave very nicely. Of course, the reason why it's so rounded, if you guys don't realize, is because it was ground down this way. So you don't get that flat weave, you get a nice texture instead. So I was talking about the buttons earlier, and I mentioned that they were not the best looking buttons in the world. In my opinion, they look rather simple. They are not dished. So if you are someone who likes a concave dish, this is not for you. It is a big flat area here, and you have an angled lip that goes outwards like that. It's very wide. I think these are like 24 millimeters if I'm not wrong, and they sit very well here, but they were not the buttons of choice. Now I swapped them out here and there for many other buttons, and I think that due to the sheer size of it, most of the buttons that I had would expose these speed holes a little bit. And while the speed holes look good, they don't look so nice when they are kind of semi-exposed, with the exception, just one exception, with the exception that your buttons have to be of the same kind of color combination as the rest of the spinner. And what I mean is that if you were to use, say for example, these meteorite buttons, you can see it's silver, shiny and stuff, but the entire spinner is not really silver, it's just black and glow. But enter the old school, yeah, I call these old school, the old school zirconia buttons by the One Stop Fidget Official. I took these out. I forgot which spinner they were on in the first place, but I took these out and then I found some washers. They are slightly taller washers, as you guys can see, and I found myself a taller set screw as well, and then I realized that it works very nicely, and this is what it looks like now. Let me just pop these buttons on with the washers and the long set screw, tighten it down, and you guys can see it looks very nice. I don't know why. I really think it's because of the color of the buttons now. These zirconium buttons are already flame black, so they do put an accent to those slots there, versus this whole part being silver and then having kind of like darkish looking holes around it. But this works very well in my opinion. I like the way it looks, and of course, the fidgeting experience is great because these rippled steps here are something that I really enjoy about these buttons. That's why I never sold it. You know, it's zirconium. I could fetch a pretty good price for these, but I never sold it because I think it's really comfortable and very nice to use. Back to the buttons though, I really want to say that I know that Nick has been in the game for quite some time, but one thing that really irks me is the fact that these buttons are still two halves being held in by a set screw. In my opinion, I really don't like them, but if it works for him, it works for him, and it also opens up a lot of options for different button styles and different materials to make buttons out of. So yeah, that's something that I just wanted to share. It is a personal opinion, but here we go. The Asylum 3.0, guys, I actually find this really fidgetable, and I'm making that comparison against the original Asylum. This one over here, I want to say that it is fidgetable. Don't get me wrong, I like it a lot. That's why it's still in my collection all the way till today. I mean, I would have sold it if I didn't like it because I purchased this, right? But after handling this, I think that the size, the thickness and everything works so well with the carbon fiber that I kind of am not able to go back to that. Like, this one is good. Don't get me wrong, I like the Mini Asylum. I think it looks great. It's a stunning looking piece, especially now that I've paired it up with these meteorite buttons. Man, I really love it. But now that I've got this, I think it kind of spoiled my taste and my feeling for fidgetability when compared to that. This thing is so fidgetable. It's so light, so fast, and it's got zero hotspots. So really, the thickness and the chamfered edges and everything just works so well. Pullbacks, no problem. Push forwards with your middle finger or fourth finger. Pulling back and pushing forward with your index finger is not a problem as well. Jib jabs, of course, is going to be easy simply because, you know, this is a very light spinner. It doesn't really take much effort, and balance is actually pretty good. I mean, even if you slow it down, it's really well done. So in terms of machining and sheer QC, I would say that Nick is doing a really wonderful job over at FTO. And once again, thank you Alysia for this, because without you I wouldn't have this. Now this was actually retailing for I think $160 US. I don't know if I'm correct. Could have been 135. I can't remember. I'm sorry guys, but it's about that range. Just think of anything between 135 to 160. But yeah, purple glow carbon fiber. I wish I had blue though, and I know that some of you will find it hard to swallow in terms of the price. I understand that it might be a little bit too expensive, but if you really know about carbon fiber, then you know that this is the price you're gonna have to pay. Like in the world of CF like these specially made ones, they don't come easy. They might not be expensive, but they don't come easy. It's very hard for you to find available stock, and most of the time whenever a CF maker releases stock or they make an announcement, they usually are snagged up really fast. So the stock, or aka the raw material, is hard to come by. And then you also have to have the expertise to actually machine CF. I want to say that I know Nick has been saying that he really hates machining CF, so I don't know if he'll be doing CF in the future ever again. Personal experience wise, I have done some work with CF before. I've actually drilled holes through my CF longboard so I could put a brake set into it, so I know a bit about CF. If you don't have the right tools, or if you don't control the temperature right, you're gonna just melt it and warp it, and that's something that you really don't want, because CF really, it's not just the fiber itself, it's also resin based, and all of that, the knowledge plus the skill to actually machine it and the luck to actually get the raw material itself will attribute and go into the final price. So in my opinion, it's not a bad price to pay for a spinner like this or an item like this. Thank you Alysia for helping me out. I just want you guys to know that no, she didn't buy it for me, I bought it through her. So I really want to thank her for the extra effort to help me out on the drop. She even went out of her way to ask on Facebook if anyone had a blue that wanted to swap it with the purple, and that gesture alone, Alysia, thank you so much. Also, happy belated birthday. I know it's your birthday technically today when I'm recording this video. By the time this video gets released, I know it'll be later than that, but I hope that you have had a great, wonderful celebration. Next, I'm gonna show you guys the glow, and I've got my trusty UV light, so just gonna power this up for a little bit, and then you guys can see the purple glow. Now while I let it charge up, I'm going to change the ISO settings on this, make it a bit brighter so that you guys can see it. Once I turn it off, you'll see the glow, and you can tell it is a very nice, I guess it's kind of like a very dark blue, not so much of a purple. So yeah, something that I also gave feedback to Nick about. Okay, it's losing its charge really fast, so I'm gonna turn the lights back on. Yep, so that was the purple glow in action, and like I said, I just wish it was a little bit better. I wish that it looked more purple rather than blue. Something more of this versus this, because this looks more blue than this. I mean, in terms of this particular background, this looks purple, or at least more purple than this. But yeah, I mean, it's just a small gripe, and I guess I wish I paid more attention to it, but oh well, I made my choice. I didn't want green because green to me is rather common, and I didn't want orange because I think that glowing orange looks a little bit strange. No disrespect to you, Meads, I know you really love orange, but don't get me wrong, I love orange, just I don't want orange glow. All in all, I guess when we're talking about it being a spinner, this is great. Really, honestly speaking though, I feel that if I ever wanted to sell this, I'm sure that there will be buyers on the market waiting to snag one of these. So if really one day I don't love it anymore, I will just probably let it go out there into the wild. But it really has a good sentimental value to me, because Alysia really helped me out on this, and I really have to thank her for that. That's about it, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you like the content that I'm putting out here, I hope that you will consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do subscribe, make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you will be notified of any new uploads that I put out. I hope that you found this video interesting, and I hope that I provided enough information to help you decide whether or not the Asylum Mini 3.0 is a spinner for you, even though I know it's going to be close to impossible for you to snag one of these particular variations in the market. Also, I run a Patreon page. I put a link up here in case you want to take a look at that, and if you do become a patron of mine, thank you so much in advance. And that is it, everyone. How many fucks do I give the Asylum Mini? I give it 2 fucks. I give it 2 fucks because it's not the best. It's a really good fidgeter, but it's not the best because I'm a little bit upset about the carbon fiber glow. It's a nice collector's piece, I'll have to admit. Presentation and everything is really good. I will catch all of you in the next slice of my life, whenever that will be. And until then, everyone, gaga boost.